There's so much confusion, worry, anxiety when it comes to retirement. And the biggest concerns that I hear are, can I retire? Have I saved enough? Will it last? What about taxes, inflation, health and long-term care costs, and much, much more? We're leaving our jobs, our monthly paychecks to go into retirement, and we're not sure we're ready. And this comes from not having a retirement plan in place. We've been so busy working, accumulating our assets, and we haven't made the shift to retirement planning. So we go through the 5 key areas of retirement planning to make sure that they have a solid retirement plan in place.
And I would I'd add, Barb, are people worried about, can I retire right now in this current economic situation? So that's another burden we have to carry for a while.
It sure is. And certainly our current climate is causing more uncertainty. And so it means even more planning and getting those questions answered for sure.
Well, as Barb said, friends, we have this retirement checklist to go through on the show today. And she's broken it down into those few key categories of income and health care, risk management, how much risk you want to take on, some tax-efficient strategies, and then your estate legacy planning. Barb, would you like to take these one at a time, and we would start with the income part of it?
We could. Each of these areas that you just mentioned, Ralph, they are all part of that financial endurance plan, and leaving out just one of these areas can certainly cause problems for your retirement. So the retirement checklist, it's a great place to start to make sure that you're on track for retirement and that you have your roadmap designed to help you throughout the many years of retirement. And truly, Ralph, where it all starts is that income planning. We need to know our numbers. And keep in mind, our numbers can change, but we need to have a starting place. So we take an accounting of all the different assets that our clients have, and this can be checking, savings, brokerage accounts, as well as all their retirement accounts such as 401ks, 403bs, TSPs, and Roths. And we get an idea of what they have saved. And then we need to look at our monthly expenses. We create an itemization of their monthly cash flow needs. And this would be, for the house payment, the utilities, the taxes, the insurance, car payments, insurance, gas, maintenance, household repairs, food, personal items, eating out, hobbies, health insurance premiums, Medicare premiums, vacations, pet expenses. We really go into their actual costs. And then we look at their current income, especially if they're still working, the expected income in retirement, and we see if we have enough coming in for what's going out. And then we need to stress test it against inflation and taxes. We also need to have a plan for the unexpected costs, such as health or long-term care expenses. And these need to be planned for as well. So there's a lot involved in preparing for retirement to make sure you can retire and stay retired.
Can you talk to me about how you know if you've saved enough to cover all those expected expenses?
Well, and it just really comes back to knowing our numbers. Do we know what our monthly expenses and lifestyle costs are? And have we really figured out what our income sources are? And that can be pension, Social Security, sometimes rental income, whatever that might be. And we have to see if we're going to have enough coming in for what's going out. And if not, now's the time to know that and be able to make some adjustments. And sometimes we have ways of creating additional income that folks aren't aware of. And so if that's appropriate, we go into that with our clients as well.
All right. So there's an inventory you need to take of your income sources and how those would be taxed. A lot of us, Barb, could probably fill in that first blank. We know about our pension or our Social Security. Now, how do we know if those are going to be taxed? How and if they'll be taxed?
Well, that's a great question. And it's really very important that we know what is taxed and what isn't. Remember, if your money is taxed, you really don't have it all to spend on your monthly expenses. So when it comes to your pension income, that will be taxed. It's considered ordinary income. Rental income is considered passive income. Social Security is a little bit different. The first 15% is usually not taxed, and the remaining 85% is taxed based on your current tax rate. We also have distributions from our retirement accounts, such as our 401ks and IRAs, and you've never paid taxes on these types of accounts. So all the money that you contributed, your employer matched, and all the gains are taxable as you pull the money out. And this is also considered ordinary income. So when you have $500,000 saved in your 401k, you really don't have $500,000 to use for retirement because you're going to need to pay taxes on those dollars. So at just a 20% tax rate, you really would only have $400,000. So knowing how things are taxed and being able to realistically look at what we've saved is very important in our retirement planning.
The other piece that we really cannot overlook, Barb, when we're creating our inventory of the income and assets is an inventory of our debts. How important is that to make sure we have a handle on those liabilities?
Well, debt can be a silent killer of our finances. If you have a fixed rate mortgage or a car payment, we know the payments will stay the same. On the other hand, a variable rate mortgage will change, especially over time, and this can be very dangerous in retirement. Also, credit card debt is a ticking time bomb. As interest rates have increased, so has the interest that you're paying on your credit cards. And if you're only making the minimum payments, you'll never get it paid off. So I recommend for my clients to not have credit card debt in retirement. Credit card debt tells me that we did not have the needed cash flow to pay for something, so we charged it, and we didn't have the ability to pay it back. And this will be a downward spiral. So knowing where you are, knowing your numbers, making sure that you have the needed monthly income to take care of your monthly expenses as well as the unexpected expenses that pop up is really very, very important, and why you need to have that financial endurance plan.
We just whip out the credit card and charge. Well, I don't have enough to cover it. We'll charge it. We'll pay for it
Yep.
later. A silent killer of your income and your assets. Well, another box to check off on our retirement checklist we're talking about today is that our strategy is adjusted for inflation. And how do we factor that in, Barb?
Well, if there was no inflation to consider, it certainly would be a lot easier to forward project our numbers. This would mean what it costs us today for meat, a loaf of bread, fuel, utilities. It'd be the same 5, 10, 20 years from now. But that's not how it is. So if you look back when your parents bought their first home and what the home costs today, how about what you paid for your first home and what it costs today? If we don't plan for inflation, we're not being realistic with how long our money will last. So we need to stress test your income and your expenses against inflation to make sure that you're going to have enough income over time. And if it looks like we won't have enough income, then we need to look for options today to make sure that that doesn't happen. Maybe adding another income source or two could make a huge difference.